G'day folks, Steve from Vintage Restorations Australia here. In this two-part series we're going to take this and turn it into something that looks more like this. So stay tuned and see how we do it. Here's the start point of this food van conversion. It's a little car park 12.9. We'll just do a quick walk around. It's actually reasonably straight for car park. And fairly complete. Both good things. See a couple of Chevy wheels on there, so it's obviously had an original Chevy tow vehicle. You can see this van is fairly crusty. Now all of this has to come out. So one way to do that is whack it. I'm just going to begin the process of stripping down by removing all the internal linings. All the ceiling's gone already, but everything else is going to come out. There's the original door, we want to keep that, but the rest of it, rubbish. This van's going to be converted into a bakery van, so this is the starting point. And that's it, ready to go. So we start the strip down process, back to the frame. The bits of steel and stuff that are sticking out of the frame, we'll cut them off. The small rivets that are left from the ply cladding are best removed just with a cold chisel and a hammer. They come off pretty easy. It makes removing the cladding easier if you knock off the inside of the exterior rivets. And again, you just do that with the cold chisel. That just makes it a bit easier when you come to get the rivet on the outside. It'll just usually, as soon as you hit it with the drill, it pops off. Makes it a bit easier to take the cladding off. So on these little cap rivets, you basically put the drill on, give them a push and drill through. And they should pop off. So once you've drilled out all the rivets, all the way around, all the roof rivets there, the panel should just pull out. Boom. And they go from top to bottom. When we take these trims out from over there, try not to monster them too much because we want to reuse this frame. We're going to put an opening window in here, but the opening, we utilise this old internal frame for that, and we'll demonstrate that when we get to it. But try to take this out as carefully as possible. These are the screw holes, so you've got to try to get the screws out without monstering this. After you've removed all the rivets and the cladding and things, you'll be left with some of these little stems off the rivets. Just knock them out with a centre punch. Go around and get them all out from the whole frame. It's only 1,000 or so. Good way to clean the underside of the vans is to just tip them over. Basically, we've got to get it under it, lean it on that front corner, and we've got to pull from sort of back here. Wasn't very graceful. So now this has all been ground back with a wire brush. You can see this is all nicely ground back and the corrosion's gone. We apply this ionizer or rust converter as it's sometimes called, and that'll stabilise that corrosion product. Then we put a high build epoxy primer over the top of that, don't we, Martin?
Yes, we will.
So now that the tannate is finished, we're going to apply this metal shield from Dulux. It's a high build epoxy primer. It goes on nice and thick like that, and it just brushes on. We're going to paint everything with it, aren't we, Martin?
Yes.
So there we've cut the hole for the hatch. It's about 900 by the full height of the van with a little nib wall down the bottom about the height of the wheel arch. And that'll be for the display fridge that's going into the bakery van. Marchand's just starting to remove the wheel set. We're going to replace that and upgrade to a 2,000 kilo wheel set with electric brakes, new hubs, new wheels and tyres and things. So the first step in that is to remove it all. That's the before and after. This one here has been ground down for removal of the corrosion, and then it's been treated with tannic acid or just a rust converter. This product here, it's just a primer sealer essentially. It's tannic acid, so it stabilises the corrosion, active corrosion sites. This one on this side is as it came off the van. So John's cut all of this out now because there's a lot of corrosion in the top surface of this and quite a bit through the front here. We need a structural support put in this section, so we're going to weld that in. But before we do that, while we've got access, we'll clean all of this up, get some corrosion conversion on it, and get it all painted up and structural. And then we'll weld in a new top plate along the top here. Just finishing up the undercoating of this wheel arch, so we've replaced all of that, and you can see welded in new top and sides and things. All looks quite smart and structurally sound. Here we've installed two subfloor water tanks. One at the front up there is a stainless steel potable water tank, and this one back here is a plastic wastewater tank. Marchin's just finishing off the last of the chassis painting, and then we could put the floor in. All of those sheets have been cut yesterday, so we're ready to go on the floor. Hammer tone. That was bad, wasn't it? All the framework is finished now, and we've cleaned up these panels with a high pressure water blast, and then we gave them a dilute acid clean just to get the oxide and things off. These are going to be painted. If you're going to polish, don't acid clean. Just polish the oxide straight off. And now we'll start refitting them. The last of the roof panels going on now. Marchin's just cleaning up there, and we're ready to start putting the wall linings in. You can see here we've installed the cabling, the 12 volt DC cabling for the running light, the blinkers, stop lights, tail light, all that sort of thing. So they're protruding out, ready to go. You can see here the DC cabling running through the frame. Wherever we penetrate the frame, we add conduit to it. Wherever your 12 volt electrical passes to the outside of the van, make sure you conduit it and isolate it so that that cable there doesn't rub against the cladding. We've started insulating the wall cavities with an R2 industrial insulation. It's quite thin, it's only about 45 mils thick, or thin. And over the top of that we put the plywood, 10 mil plywood, which we screw in. And there's Sikaflex behind that on the stud frame. Stop it rattling and buzzing. in these corners where there's going to be electrical conduit and things going up and down, we're not allowed to use fluffy insulation. So we dab on a bit of silicone and we can silicone in these this air cell insulation. Cut these boards on a 45-degree angle on both sides. So they essentially should fit nice and flush in there. As you go, you'll get a bit of sicker and things oozing out. It's a good idea to clean that up with a bit of mineral terps as you go. Just smooth it out. And that makes that connection a little bit better for the vinyl to go over. We've got to insulate through this cavity here to stop the reflective heat coming in. So we use this air cell insulation. So now the walls are all lined. We're fitting Dacron insulation to the roof. You'll cut that to suit each panel, and then just we hold it in place with a bit of just painter's tape. Ceiling, all my life these ceilings. No good?
Very good. I love your singing.
Ceilings, all my life these ceilings. Ceilings like I've never felt before. Pinch my finger. Last little bit of the ceiling marching, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I feel good.
Like James Brown good or just regular good?
Both.
So there we go, all lined out. And the ceiling's in. Tomorrow the electrician comes in and runs all the 240 volt cabling through the top and down in the corners. I'll talk us through the electrical of this. I'm going to make you a YouTube star. The ladies will love you.
They won't be able to understand me anyway.
What are the key things you've got to watch out for?
Okay, vibration because the caravan's moving, so that's why we're trying to support all the cables.
Yeah.
The double-poled switches in both lines, live and neutral, so it could, active neutral, I'm in Australia now, it could end up, you're breaking both lines, so for safety.
12 volt and 240 got to be separated?
You can't go through the same holes or same conduits, so it's got to be totally isolated.
So you don't need licensing for the 12 volt stuff?
No, but you obviously
But
do.
you've got to have a compliance certificate for all your 240.
And yeah, and the rules are quite a lot different as well on the caravan.
First fit complete, it's time to put in all the final corner panels, the 45s, up on the roof line there. It's Friday Arvo, and we've just finished putting the last of these little trims around the top, the 45-degree bits of ceiling. Clean up and go home. Start again on Monday. So that's it for part one, folks. Subscribe and follow us and you can tune in and see part two where the van's completed and delivered to the customer. See you then.